Now that we've completed part 1, we're going to move on to part number 2. So moving back to Inventor, we want to close the part 1 file by simply making our way to the top right hand corner and clicking on the lower X close button. And we're simply now going to go to the pull down File, New, making sure that we're still on the Metric tab. We're going to scroll down to find the Inventor part standard millimeter part file. Double click and or click on the OK button. Now that we're in sketch mode, I'm simply going to use a line command, and I'm simply going to click and draw the profile and simply sketch out, not worrying too much about the exact dimensioning. Once I've completed the overall look and feel of the profile, I'm simply going to scroll down in my 2D sketch panel and start the general dimensioning command. The first dimension I'm going to place is this angular dimension. By clicking this first line and this second line and moving my mouse to this position, it automatically knows I want to place an angular dimension. So I simply click the dimension in place, and I'll click on that dimension, and that value should be 120 degrees. The next dimension that I want to place is the angular dimension here, which should be 37. So I click the angled line and the horizontal line, and I place the dimension. I click on the dimension and enter 37 as the value. The next dimension I want to place is from this point to this point. That's easily done by clicking on this angled line and moving my cursor upwards. It was drawn at 8.742. When I click on that dimension and enter the value of 36 as per the working drawing, my sketch seems to zoom out. That's because we're now adding the accurate dimensions, and I sketched it at a small scale. So to see the entire sketch, we click on the zoom all button up along the top, and it brings it all into place. The next dimension, little note here, to pan your drawing over is simply by clicking the middle mouse button and holding and just dragging and then releasing once you've panned it over. You can also use the middle wheel button to scroll back and forth by rolling the wheel, and once again to pan, you simply click and hold the wheel and you're in pan mode. So I'll just zoom out and pan that over a little bit. The next value I want to place is the dimension of this line down here. When I click on that line, that should be 36. It's starting to come together here. The next dimension I may want to place is this value out here as per my working drawing. But when I place that value, it says that it will over constrain the sketch. Basically, what this is saying is that the dimensions that we've already placed automatically forces the value of that line. So I can't drive or control that dimension. So when I get that, I typically click on cancel and move on. The next value that I want to place is the top dimension. So I pan so I can see the line. I make sure my general dimension tool is on in the sketch panel. If it's not, just click. Select the top horizontal line. Click by placing the dimension. Click on the dimension, and that value is 479. Enter. Once again, it grows the line to the value we entered, so it's off our screen. Click on the zoom all along the top, and we can see that it's now 479 millimeters, excuse me. Another dimension we can place is this angular dimension, which should be 60. So general dimension is on. We click the top horizontal and the angled. Click in the middle of those two lines to place the dimension. Click the value, enter 60. Our sketch is complete. The only one dimension we need is from this line to this line. We'll click it in place and it's actually being inferred. Based on the angles, the distance, and what have you, we don't need to dimension it because all these other values drive the profile. So we'll just hit cancel. Once we've completed the profile, we simply make our way to the top to select the return, to return out of sketch mode into 3D mode with a single click. I'm going to make my way to the view cube at the top right, click on the little house symbol to put my view in an isometric view. And we're simply going to extrude this profile by clicking the extrude button in the part feature. The extrude dialog box appears. We're going to extrude by distance, and once again the material we're using is 19 millimeters, so we enter 19, click on OK, and we've completed part number 2. We'll make our way to the save button, click on save, and name it part 2 IPT save.